Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Rama Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki jai, Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda, Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda, Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda, Shri Shri Gaur Nitai ki jai, Shri Shri Nitai Sachi Sutta ki jai, Shri Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra ki jai, Shri Shri Radha Parasishwara ki jai, Lord Chaitanya is dancing at the Rath Yatra festival ki jai, Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki jai, Go Premanandi, Shri Vikrishwar Pandit, is it Tirobhav today? Tirobhav, I think it's Tirobhav. Shri Vikrishwar Pandit Tirobhav Mahamahotsav ki, Go Premanandi, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga, all glories to Shri Prabhupada. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Vishnu Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Sarasvate Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nivasesha Sunyavadi Pastachade Chatarine. Do we have the Chaitanya Charitamrita? We don't have the book? I've not got it. I mean, I've got it here, but it's going to be complicated.
Bring my phone.
We don't have the book here. How is that? Amazing. Well, we can try, because I was going to refer to some notes at the same time. It's going to be complicated going back and forth.
About the Rath Yatra, right?
It's the dancing of Lord Chaitanya at the Rath Yatra festival. Look at this picture. I found it yesterday in the prasadam room. The pot washing room, actually, not the prasadam room. It was in the pot washing room underneath a pile of things. You can pass it around. This is a picture of Srila Prabhupada walking in Vrindavan in his 70s. It's, I don't know what year it would be, but early 70s, obviously. I recognize a few of the devotees, but not too many. And you can see the difference. If you've been to Vrindavan, you'll see the difference between what it looked like to us, at least. It's still the same. But what it looks like to us has changed a little bit. And this is Radha Madhu Mohan Temple. You can pass it around. There's not a single building to be seen or a single vehicle to be seen, you know. It's just like a jungle. But more or less the whole Parikrama path, or at least most of it, was like that in those days. Now it's a little different, at least to our vision, what to do. Hare Krishna. So we're trying to. What verse is it? Do we know?
142.
I mean, we should have brought a set of. We have no Chaitanya Charitamritas in English here.
In English, not in French.
Pardon?
In any language.
No? Well, we could have brought. I mean, if someone's going to set them up nicely, we'll make sure that it's full sets.
There's in room 9. I can go in.
Room 9. That's the spare room there. Yes. The VIP room. The VIP rooms. VIPs. Okay, so today we are reading from Chaitanya Charitamrita. Is it chapter 13?
Yes.
Text number?
142.
140.
142.
142. And this is an ecstatic section of the Chaitanya. Oh, every section of this great book is ecstatic. But this is an especially ecstatic section where we hear of this grand festival, Chaitanya Leela, the Jagannath Rath Yatra festival, which we're having in Paris tomorrow. Jai Jagannath Baladev Subhadra ki jai. Is there any medical report on them, by the way, before we can absolutely confirm that? Who's the doctor? Who's been the doctor looking after the deities? Radha Govinda? Radha Govinda? She's the doctor. Is there any report on their health condition? Are they likely to be ready for tomorrow? No news. You should find out. We may have to reschedule the Rath Yatra if they're not ready. Is that right?
Difficult with the police, you know.
Some of you may remember, I don't know if Bharavita Prabhu was there, but in about 10 years ago in Den Haag, in Holland, we had the Rath Yatra festival there. It used to be the day before the Paris one. I don't know if it's today or not. But the Jagannath deities did not turn up. They didn't show up for the Rath Yatra. We were just pulling the Rath cart with no deities on the cart the whole way, from beginning to end. They turned up just at the end as we were just about to finish the parade. Thank you for that.
Doctor is there.
Doctor is there. Okay. What's the update? Are they okay?
She doesn't.
Radha Govinda?
I think she's too busy. She's too busy there looking after their health. So we're reading from the Chaitanya Charitamrita, continuation of the Lord's dancing at the Rath Yatra festival, and we're in a very deep section of this particular pastime right now, by the looks of it, describing the inner mood of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. As we'll find, as we'll see in this particular section of the Chaitanya Charitamrita, it's not just about simply dancing and chanting. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared in this world along with his associates for two particular reasons. To perform Sankirtan, dancing and chanting, but also to give Krishna Prema, love of Godhead. So here he's giving a little bit of an insight into the real essence, the heart of Harinam Sankirtan, of the heart of Rasayatra, the heart of the Sankirtan movement, is to not just to perform activities which may be very enlivening, they may be very, what we call, very ecstatic, they may be very attractive, and so on. They may purify us, but the real essence of Sankirtan is to cultivate or to awaken this mood which Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is personally experiencing here along with his associates. And in this way, they distributed Krishna Prema even to the untouchables. And they wove a wreath. You know a wreath? You know the word wreath? What's a wreath? What's a wreath? Because it's not a very used word. It's very rarely used nowadays. Who knows what a wreath is? Krishna Kripa Prabhu.
The wreath is it's round and it's made out of vegetation, basically.
Flowers usually. It's made. Usually we use red and white carnations. Usually, and it's especially used where if you ever go to a cemetery. Haribol. Haribol, good to see you again. If you ever go to a cemetery, sometimes people bring these wreaths and they place them on the tomb or the grave there. Yeah, round. And it's maybe made of many colours, but traditionally it was just two colours, red and white, traditionally, at least in England. Carnations, usually. So Lord Chaitanya has woven a wreath of Krishna Prema, Sankirtan, congregational chanting, and the holy name, with which he has garlanded the entire material world. So this especially as Jagannath Rasayatra Festival, you could say, is the pinnacle of this mission of Lord Chaitanya to achieve this purpose, to drown everyone in the ocean of Krishna Prema, nectar, by immersing them in the Sankirtan movement, somehow or another. One way or another. They may not drown immediately, but slowly, drop by drop by drop. Jai Shishi Mutai Sachi Sutta Shishi Radha Parasishwar Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Ki Jai. So I don't think it's on the board, so I'll just read it through. Dehaspati Nahiyara Sangsara Kupakahantara Taha Haite Nachahe Udara Viraha Samudra Jale Kammatimingale Gile Gopigane Neha Tarapara. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu continued. The gopis are fallen in the great ocean of separation, and they are being devoured by the timingal fish, which represent their ambition to serve you. Timingal fish is not a very common fish nowadays. I don't know if anyone's ever seen one. What's their speciality?
Swallow whales.
They can even swallow whales. So you can. That doesn't mean the country of whales. That means the fishes, the big ones, the giant ones in the ocean. They might even be able to swallow the country of whales. I don't know, but they can certainly swallow whales in the ocean. So they must be pretty big. Whether there's still any present on this planet, I do not know. I've heard rumors. But they're really big fishes, or what do you call it? name for fishes. It's got a technical term, I've forgotten anyway. Whatever it is, they're aquatics. Thank you very much. They're enormous aquatics. And in this case, they're swallowing up. They're being devoured. Everything else. This is the only in the ocean, or let's say in the intensity of pure devotional service, such as, of course, we can't compare, but the mood of separation which the gopis are experiencing here swallows up, devours any other remnant of any other kind of intentional desire. The gopis are to be delivered from the mouths of these timingil fish, for they are pure devotees. It's quite esoteric. Since they have no material conception of life, why should they aspire for liberation? The gopis do not want that liberation desired by yogis and jnanis, for they are already liberated from the ocean of material existence. And there's a reasonable purport here. The bodily conception is created by the desire for material enjoyment. This is called vipada smriti, which is the opposite of real life. We think this is real life, huh? Material enjoyment. That's what we're here for. You ask most people, well, what was your goal of life? You hear different answers, but quite often, to enjoy my senses, huh? Sense gratification. As much as possible. Eat, drink, and be merry, for tomorrow you may die. You better do it now. One can never be happy in advancing materially, Prabhupada writes. It's only a reflection of happiness, and even then it's only temporary and very shallow. This is also stated in Srimad Bhagavatam 7.530. Adantagobir vishatam tamishram punak panas charvata charvananam. Who knows? Who spoke that to who?
The Prahlad Maharaj spoke it to Radha Krishna.
Yes, to his dear dad. He spoke it to his father. And what does it mean?
Swallowing, chewing, which has already been.
Yes, in this world everyone's chewing the chewed, huh? It's already been chewed and we're still trying to chew it. Isn't it? Why? Because they're so entangled, huh? In adanta gobir, vishatam tamishram. In a deep attachment to family life and sense gratification. Dark, deep well leading to hell. Material sense gratification. People are addicted, they're absorbed. They're only conscious, completely unconscious of their spiritual identities. Through the uncontrolled senses, this is the adanta gobir, uncontrolled senses, one may advance one's hellish. One may advance one's hellish condition. He may continue to chew the chewed, that is, repeatedly accept birth and death. That means repeatedly accept birth and death. Life after life, we try to enjoy. And we're still, though sufficiently experienced, the living entity still carries on. Dehapatra kalatradishu atmasanyasa sapi. Despite the fact that we're sufficiently experienced, we still take shelter of these fallible soldiers in the form of society, family, and so on and so forth. And the result of that is that we just take birth after birth, suffering in this world. The conditioned souls use the duration of life between birth and death only to engage in the same hackneyed activities. Do you know what hackneyed activities are? Pardon? Hackneyed.
Old.
Yeah, old. It could be old and yeah, worn down. It's like the same thing again and again. Old and worn out. We still do it. Even up to the time of death, we're still trying to squeeze it out there, huh? Squeeze something out of this life. If you can't do it, watch it. Huh? It's like, we're still not getting what we really want. Hackneyed. Since these activities are repeated, engaging in them is like chewing that which has already been chewed. If one can give up his ambition to engage in hackneyed material life and take to Krishna consciousness instead, he will be liberated from the stringent laws of material nature. One does not need to make a separate attempt to become liberated. If one simply engages in the service of the Lord, he will be liberated automatically. As Srila Bilva Mangal Thakur therefore says, Mukti Swayam Mukulitanjali Sevatesman. Liberation stands before one, before me, with folded hands, begging to serve me. There we go. Well, we'll see, we may carry on with this, or we may not. Because this section is dealing with the Lord's dancing at Rath Yatra, and we already mentioned his mood, the mood of the Lord, and the mood of his intimate associates to facilitate, to accompany his mood. They will all dance and chant and sing exactly in accordance with the Lord's mood. This is, the unity, you could say, the unity of spirituality. That everything is centered upon the heart of the Lord's heartbeat. And all the instruments and the dancing and the movements and the songs which are being sung, especially by Srup Damodar Goswami, are particularly exactly compatible to the Lord's mood. Spiritual life means compatibility. Literally. We're trying to awaken compatibility now because we're still carrying, you could say, various material concepts and material desires. There is incompatibility. Or our own concept or a view of the world, how we perceive things, is not yet with Krishna in the center. So we will find incompatibility in relationships, in effects, etc., etc. The more one becomes compatible with the will of the Lord, the more unity, the more happiness, the more natural peace, the more bliss will awaken within one's very consciousness. So this is the Jagannath Rath Yatra. It's centered on that principle of fulfilling Radharani's desire to bring Krishna back to Vrindavan. So we may not be, of course, on that level of consciousness or awareness exactly, but we have been given the method to purify our consciousness and move in that direction by taking out the Rath Yatra cart onto the streets, dancing and chanting and distributing prasadam and distributing books and performing worship of Lord Jagannath, etc., and pulling the ropes of the chariot cart, particularly dancing and chanting. Sometimes we see in the Rath Yatra festival that devotees are not always engaged in dancing and chanting. There may be reasons. Pardon?
They're talking on the side.
They may be talking. They may be on their mobile phones. I saw in the Back to Godhead magazine some years ago, and I think it was on the back page, it was the San Francisco picture of the San Francisco. I wrote to the editor saying, why don't you put a little bit more Krishna conscious picture there? At least 50% of the people were on their mobiles in the parade. They're all walking along, all these Indian people, all walking along with their mobiles like this, 99% of the devotees were Indian, and maybe 1% Westerners. But that's not really what we're supposed to be doing. The best thing would be to not bring your mobile, or if you do, put it in some way that it doesn't get used unnecessarily on the parade. But if we really want to, fulfill the desire of Radharani, if we really want to fill our own inner desires also, to get that mercy of Lord Jagannath and Srimati Radharani and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the combined form of Lord Chaitanya and Lord Krishna, then dancing and chanting is the activity for Rath Yatra. If we're distributing books, that's absolutely glorious also. And tomorrow we hope to distribute lots and lots and lots and lots of Prabhupada's books. Baba Sindhu Prabhu, why don't you distribute some books tomorrow on the Rath Yatra? Yes, you said Harry Bol, so that means you will do it. Okay, go for it. Okay?
Yeah.
You see, Gauranataraj Prabhu will give you 50 Bhagavad Gitas. That's everyone's quota tomorrow. 50 each. Okay? Now you're starting to get nervous now. You can do it. At least we can try. Distribute some of Prabhupada's book. Dance, chant, and preach Krishna consciousness. This is the business. Because this dancing and chanting, we read, there's a beautiful song of Lochan Das Thakur, isn't it? Parama karuna pahudu ijana nitai gora chandra sabhavatara sharashiromani kevala anandakanda. Don't think that this dancing and chanting will not lead to the desired result. It will. Simply by dancing and chanting, one can achieve life's perfection. We think of a million other things to do. Constantly. Always thinking some other way, some sophisticated way. But what does it say in the Bhagavatam? Krishna Vanam Trisha Krishnam Sangopangastra Parshadam Yage Sankitanam Praya Jantihi Sumedashaha. What does it say in the Bhagavatam? What does that verse mean?
In the stage of Kali, the Lord will appear in the matter of the form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Pardon? Krishna Vanam Trisha Krishnam Sangopangastra Parshadam Yagya Sanketanam Prahe Yajanti Sumedashaha.
Those who are intelligent in this age of Kali,
yes.
Lord Krishna will come with a non-blackish complexion. He came with his associates, weapons, and paraphernalia.
Yes, by performing Sankirtan Yagya. Doesn't sound very intelligent, does it? But no, you've got to be a learned scholar. You've got to know all the verses. Know the philosophy, the Vedanta, everything. But here, Srimad Bhagavatam, almost concluding verse, says that one intelligent person in this age worships the Lord by the performance of Sankirtan Yajna. It's not very difficult. The difficulty is accepting it, isn't it? That's the difficulty.
The word Varna, I was just listening to a lecture Prabhupada that was mentioning that Varna is generally like the classes, except for Varnas. But it's Krishna Varnam. So in this verse, it has a different meaning.
Yeah.
If it's like Krishna Varnam, devotees of Krishna or of God, what it exactly was.
Those in the quality of Krishna. Krishna Varnam means those in the quality of Krishna.
Those?
The quality.
The quality of Krishna.
The category like Varna is the divisions of society.
Yeah, but this is different. With Krishna Varna, above all of this, Sankirtan movement is for everyone. It's putting Krishna in the center, putting Jagannath in the center. This is the intelligent thing to do. So I'm going to read something, and some of this will be, there's not much time to expand it. Today, by the way, is, you can double check, there is a calendar on the wall there. Is it the disappearance or the appearance of Rikreshwar Pandit? We'll take. Believe is good, fact is even better. Calendar's right behind there, on the you can see it on the right, top right hand side. 24th of June. June the 24th. June.
Right, June 24, yes, Disparition.
Disappearance day of Vikreshwara Pandit. Well, isn't that very auspicious? Because, not that he disappeared, but the fact that the day that we honor his disappearance, we're discussing something very deeply related to dancing. It states, where's that stated? In the spiritual world, every step is a dance, or a gait. It's a very jolly dance. Every word is a song, and every step is a dance. So Vikreshwara Pandit was very famous, wasn't he? What was he famous for? Maybe many things, but particularly what was he famous for?
Dancing.
Non-stop dancing. 72 hours, maybe longer, but that was just how long the Mahaprakash pastimes were taking place, or whatever it was. This great performance of Lord Chaitanya's pastimes. He would dance all the way through it, non-stop. He could probably dance forever. Spiritual world. Why stop? Well, he was especially proficient dancer and kirtaniya, and could dance continuously for 72 hours. Vikreshwara Pandit was very dear to Lord Chaitanya. He was always absorbed in relishing the devotional mellows with Sri Krishna. Thereby he was such an elevated soul that he could purify the entire universe. When he danced, both the demigods and the demons were captivated. In fact, as soon as he would begin to dance, by Sri Chaitanya's mercy, all the ecstatic symptoms like crying, shivering, roaring, perspiration, laughter, horripilation, and swooning in divine bliss would appear in his person. It is impossible to describe all the devotional symptoms of Vikreshwara Pandit. We won't mention. There's a wonderful pastime of Vikreshwara Pandit and how he delivered Devananda Pandit, who had committed an offense to Srivas Thakur. Are you leaving us? Why? Pardon?
I have duties, Maharaj.
Huh?
I have duties, Maharaj. So
You have business?
yes. But I will be back tonight
For?
Arena.
Oh, going to Eiffel Tower. They're going to the Eiffel Tower today on Harinam Sankirtan. Is that right? Is that correct?
Yes.
Confirmed. With His Holiness Mahavishnu Swami Maharaj and the Harinam Ruchi will be going to the Eiffel Tower. Yeah, to make Yagya, Sankirtan Yagya, to spread bliss at the Eiffel Tower. Thank you for your association. So where were we? We're at Vikreshwara Pandit and Devananda Pandit. So because Devananda Pandit saw Vikreshwara Pandit dancing, he became attracted. So attracted, his heart was captivated, completely captivated. And he was protecting Vikreshwara Pandit in case anybody got too close to disturb his dancing. And he became completely surrendered to Vikreshwara Pandit, falling at his lotus feet and grabbing his feet, begging to serve him. Vikreshwara Pandit was very happy and blessed him. In this way he received the mercy of a Vaishnava and became released of his reactions from his offense to Srivas Thakur. Very unusual. Usually you have to go to the direct person, but in this case Lord Chaitanya was very special to give him his mercy. So that was one thing, as a long comment on that. Vikreshwara Pandit is a manifestation, an embodiment of Krishna's transcendental potency. Therefore, whosoever serves him well immediately attains the lotus feet of Krishna. The embodiment of Krishna's transcendental and internal potency. Sri Krishna's favorite residence Who knows? With those who have not got it on their computer. What is Lord Chaitanya's or Krishna's favorite residence? Who knows? Vajradharma Prabhu?
Really?
Pardon?
I don't know.
Who knows what his favorite residence is?
His favorite one?
Lord Krishna's favorite residence.
Very good.
Vrindavan? Vrindavan?
Good suggestions, all. The heart of Vikreshwara Pandit.
Just going to say hi.
In the heart of Vikreshwara Pandit. He loves to reside there.
Also in the heart of Murari Gupta.
In every pure devotee's heart. But this is his favorite, it says here, his favorite. Where and when Vikreshwara dances, Krishna himself is induced to dance at that place. Thus the presence of Sri Vikreshwara converts anywhere into all the places of pilgrimage, the spiritual abode of Sri Krishna. He brought happiness to the Lord by dancing in the mood of Krishna. He would sweetly say to Mahaprabhu, "O merciful Lord, please give me 1,000 singers so that I can dance." While Vikreshwara danced, Mahaprabhu himself would sing, and Vikreshwara would catch hold of the Lord's lotus feet, saying, "O moon-faced one, give me 10,000 Gandharvas and let them sing while I dance. Then I will be happy." Mahaprabhu answered, "You are one of my wings. If I had another like you, I could fly in the sky." There's a lot more about interrelated subject matters, but we'll leave it at that for now. And we'll go back to the importance of dancing. Sometimes we take it a little lightly, yeah? Sometimes we don't take it seriously. But it's a very important part of our devotional lives.
Chanting, dancing, and feasting.
Prabhupada made this statement on many occasions. Dancing, chanting, and feasting. You could say this is very for people in general, but it is the means by which one can enter into pure devotional service. Also we hear every morning, we may sing if we come for the Mangal Arati or otherwise, Mahaprabhu Kirtana Nritya Gita Paritramadyam Manasorasenam. What do we sing? Mahaprabhu Kirtana Nritya Gita. What does that mean? Kirtana Nritya Gita.
Nritya means dancing, right?
Dancing. Gita
Chanting.
and musical instruments. These three activities are the essence, we could say, of this Sankirtan movement in terms of practical aspect. Obviously the devotees have to be there, but these are the three main things: chanting, dancing, musical instruments, when it comes to kirtan. So we'll read a little bit about this, at least in returns to dancing, since this is the section of Chaitanya Charitamrita dealing with dancing. One of my favorite verses, and I never learnt the Sanskrit, but in English, and it's translated differently in different places, but basically speaking, this is from the Hari Bhakti Sudadaya. It's also found in one of the Puranas, I believe. When the devotees of Lord Krishna dance, their steps crush the inauspiciousness of the earth by their dancing. In other translation it says, their dancing removes the inauspiciousness of the heavens and the lower planets also. But normally the translation is, their glances destroy the inauspiciousness of 10 directions, and their raised arms push away the inauspiciousness of the demigods' planets. So it's also related to dancing. Their arms outstretched like this. Lord Chaitanya would dance. I think this picture here, this painting, original painting here on the wall of the Panchatattva and the associates, all their arms upraised and dancing in ecstasy. We can just see a picture of Prabhupada dancing in London in 1973 or in San Francisco in 1970 or whatever, with his arms upraised like this, and everybody's going mad. He just picks everybody up. It's incredible experience. So this dancing. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu merged the entire world into the ocean of ecstatic love by performing his beautiful dances within the temple of Jagannath. He danced exquisitely and jumped high. Well, you've been reading about that in the Chaitanya Charitamrita the last few days already, about his almost inconceivable dancing and the effect of that dancing. How all the other devotees would also dance along with the Lord, and the whole universe is just showered with mercy. Prabhupada spoke in a lecture in Bombay in January 1973. There are many professional dancers. That will not attract, Prabhupada said. But even if you do not know the art of dancing, if you simply dance in ecstasy for Krishna's love, that will be appreciated by everyone. That will be appreciated by everyone. Prabhupada said it twice. Krishna kirtana gana nartana paro. These are the art. One does not require to become a Vedantist. Simply if one chants Krishna's name, holy name, and in ecstasy dances, he's more than a Vedantist. Prabhupada said in a letter to Bhattagopal Prabhu, our magic was simply this chanting and dancing. That's all. That's our magic. Too simple to be true. Too simple to be true.
Too simple you would miss.
Yeah. Simple, you miss. You miss it. Sometimes the simple things we miss. We look for complicated things. In this age of Kali, one can attain all perfection simply by chanting the holy name of the Lord. The Krishna conscious movement is meant to spread such chanting. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu inaugurated this movement of chanting and dancing. It has been going on for the last 500 years. In India it is very popular, but in the Western countries we have just introduced it 5 or 6 years ago. Now people are taking to it and they are feeling very happy. This is the only process for this age. The only process. Therefore the Guru is always engaged in chanting. Mahaprabhu Kirtana Nritya Gita. Chanting and dancing. Unless he performs it himself, how can he teach his disciples? I remember reading when Vishnu Jan Maharaj Prabhu, then he took sannyas, became Vishnu Jan Swami. He said, he gave him an instruction at sannyas. He said, your duty now you've taken sannyas is to dance and to get everyone else to dance. So that's your duty. That was his instruction at sannyas. Interesting. So his first instruction is that he will give you such instructions that immediately you will feel relief from all anxiety. And isn't it like that when you dance and chant? I had one devotee friend, he was a psychiatrist or psychologist or something. And when people would come into his clinic, sometimes they were depressed. And first thing he would say, he had this very special technique, he'd say, put your hands up like this and be miserable. And they'd all start laughing, even though they were depressed. It's a magic. It actually does. It triggers off, even materially speaking. You see when people, unless they're forced, people put their hands up when they're in celebration or happiness, don't they? It's a spontaneous thing that takes place. Huh? unless you're forced, hands up. You're under arrest. You're under arrest. Otherwise, when they win the game or they win the politics or something, or they're dancing, they like to put their hands up, It's kind of spontaneous. It is connected to the, joy and happiness. The spiritual master enjoys transcendental bliss within his mind by chanting and dancing. Unless you become blissful, you cannot dance. They go side by side. You cannot dance artificially. You might do for a while, but that's not going to last either. When devotees dance, it is not artificial. They feel some transcendental bliss, and therefore they dance. It is not that they are dancing dogs. Dancing dogs. No, their dancing is performed from the spiritual platform. Romanchakampa Shuta Taranga Bhaja. There are sometimes transformations of the body with spiritual symptoms. You can't artificially display these symptoms, but very advanced devotees, sometimes crying, hair standing on end. There are so many symptoms. These are natural.
What would you say if you say dance and someone says, I'm dancing in my heart?
You're dancing in your heart. Well, if you're dancing in your heart, your body will also dance. That's the effect.
The body's expression of wallflower.
A wallflower,
Don't
yeah.
be a wallflower.
Yeah, don't be a wallflower.
You familiar with it?
Yeah, yes, we used to use that term. It's standing there like a statue. Yeah, standing against the wall, watching. We'll come on to that in a minute. Yeah. I mean, if your body is old and worn out, or you're invalid or something, that's another thing. That's another thing. Dancing in the heart, yeah, sure. Sankirtan means complete. It means with everything. Eyes, ears, nose, limbs, body, heart, everything. These are natural. These symptoms are not to be imitated, but when one is spiritually advanced, they are visible. Krishna is dancing, Prabhupada says, and every living entity is also dancing. But there is a difference between the dancing in the spiritual world and that in the material world. That's from Krishna. O Arjuna, I declare the truth that I become purchased by the person who sings my names and dances before my deity form. Krishna's purchased. Pretty simple, huh? You want to be purchased by Krishna?
What is the Sanskrit word for purchase?
Don't know.
Vikrita?
I've got no idea. The reference I have, but it's not here. It's just a one. And I have to see. I may have it at the end of these notes. I just cut down. I've got like 20, 30 pages of notes on this, and just cut it down to a few. And the references may or may not be at the bottom. If materialistic persons can find the association of a person engaged in the loving devotional service of the Lord, they become enlightened and dance just like peacocks. We have practical experience of this. Many of our students were dry and morose previous to their meeting or their coming to Krishna consciousness. But having come into contact with devotees, they are now dancing like jubilant peacocks. That's also from the Krishna book. In the Dwarka Mahatmya, the importance of dancing before the deity is stated. These are all in nectar devotion. Stated by Lord Krishna as follows: a person who is in a jubilant spirit, who feels profound devotional ecstasy while dancing before me, and who manifests different features of bodily expression, can burn away all the accumulated sinful reactions he has stocked up for many, many thousands of years. So that's not our goal, but it's part of the process. The devotee of Vishnu who dances in joy destroys all inauspiciousness in the earth by his feet, and that's what we heard earlier. In all directions by his glance, and in heavens by his hands. We heard that earlier. One who dances joyfully and with great attention and devotion turns hundreds of sinful births to ashes. One who dances joyfully and with great attention. All the sins of those who dance before the deity while playing cartels fly from their bodies like birds. Vishnu Dhammatara. When the devotees are dancing, no one should remain sitting. Now this is quite a heavy statement. This is from the Hari Bhakti Vilas. So,
I like it.
Yeah, you heard it before. When the devotees are dancing, no one should remain sitting and watching. And no one should come between the Lord and the dancers. That's an instructive statement there, by the way. Sometimes, in the kirtan, devotees, you have to be very you've got to be conscious of what's going on here. The devotee comes in with a lamp and light and blocks everyone's dancing, and they should be very conscious. Of course, you want to offer everyone the lamp, but it should be try to do it in such a way it doesn't disturb the dancing. That person remains sitting and watches the devotees dance. My goodness, this is heavy. Don't know if we should read this. Anyway, it's the Hari Bhakti Vilas. You get all these heavy statements there, and Prabhupada says, well, this Hari Bhakti Vilas may not be so, say, relevant in all time, place, and circumstance. So we'll take it in a more lighter way. But the point is, if you could dance and sing, but you're not for some negative reason, whatever, envy or what, I don't know. But if you don't, you can be born lame, birth after birth. What's the use of legs if you don't use them for dancing? What's the use? They have no value. They should be used. Sankirtan means use them for dancing, don't just sit there. Now, if you're lame or whatever, already, that's another thing. If you're invalid, or sick or something like that. Oh, you're just a person who doesn't have a clue what's going on. That's different. It says when the devotees are dancing. So we should try to realize this is part of the process, dancing. It's not just something you do. People should be encouraged to chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra and try to bring the ecstasy and dance. Even if there is no ecstasy, dance. It will bring ecstasy. Dancing is so nice. Regarding,
If you don't just do it anyway, then the bliss will come.
That's exactly what Prabhupada said. Just do it anyway. Certainly better than sitting there or standing there like a wallflower. Like a statue.
Ask a question.
Ah.
I was thinking what differentiates ordinary movement, because dance means movement, right? Like, it is very simple, but then what means dancing? And so dancing means movement, and what discerns ordinary movement from a dancing movement? Because if the electrician comes here and is fixing the lights, he's also with the arms in his air.
We don't normally call that dancing from the material point of view. It might be a definition of some kind, but it's generally dancing is a little more specific, isn't it? You're a dancer. What is normally understood? The point is that any movement could be classified as dancing.
Yeah, no, how do we discern an ordinary movement from a dancing movement?
Well, that's the detail of spirituality. This is a generalization. That's okay, we'll come on to that. But his question is, definition-wise, any movement is classified as dancing. That's another definition. But we normally term dancing as a particular, it may be ball dancing, it may be another type of dancing.
During the King's Day, seeing the devotees people just doing like a Bollywood dance. And I don't think Prabhupada.
Well, that's another thing altogether.
No, but I'm saying the dancing glorification of Krishna should be, just look at them. Look at Panchatattva there. It's elegant. It's raised arms.
We'll move on because we'll come on to all these things in a second. But this is a different point altogether.
It has to be rhythm.
Rhythmic.
We said
Okay.
they're also joyful and attentive.
Joyful and attentive. Okay. Well, you can be joyful and attentive while you're fixing the electricity. You can also be rhythmic while you're doing it. Is there anything else which classifies it as dancing?
I remember a translation from this phrase that says every step is a dance, means that in the spiritual world every movement is so full of grace that it seems like a dance.
Even in the material world, dancing goes along with a particular point. It's that, of course, everything you could say that, but when you dance at a rock concert, it's to the beat of the music, isn't it? Everyone's dancing according to the beat of that music. Be it perverted, it's going along with some kind of beat. Right? Whether it's kirtan, or whether it's karmi music, or whatever it is. You're going along with a beat. There's a sound, there's a pulsation there.
We also had exercises, before I was a devotee, we had exercise of dancing, which was to dance with no sound.
With no sound?
Yeah, no music. There's rhythm in the body is full of rhythm, there's the heartbeat, there's the breath, there's so much expression.
There's something going on there. There's something going on. Philip?
Can we say that when we do a movement with lots of enthusiasm, it's like a dance?
It could be also. There's all these things are related, but the essence of the dancing, like this dancing here, is the heartbeat. And even if there's no sound, there's a beat inside you which is making you dance move in such a way, dance. Generally dancing is, it's not like you're fixing the electric exactly, you're doing this, then you're doing that, It's got a kind of a flow to it. It's kind of like a whole expression there of something in a beat within or beat without, which is making a beat within and making you beat your, whatever it is, there's a beat there. Let's go on and see what Prabhupada says. Regarding your question about the dancing should be done enthusiastically by raising the hands like Panchatattva. You can also dance enthusiastically by raising hands. All of Lord Chaitanya's followers used to dance with raised hands. If someone dances with ecstasy, that's all right, but it is better to dance with raised hands. Prabhupada using the word ecstasy meaning madness in a sense. All previous acharyas, all previous authorized persons in this line, they have done it, chanting and dancing. Just like Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he's chanting and dancing, chanting and dancing. We don't just dance, we chant and dance. We don't just play musical instruments, we chant and play musical instruments. They're all there. This picture, if before you, is before you, so that gradually, when you feel ecstasy, you will also dance like him. And when you automatically dance, then you will know that the thing is already realized, not artificially. But when you feel, oh, let me dance, it is so much ecstatic. Let me dance, let me dance, let me dance as you will. This is dancing. Prabhupada writes here. Markane Bhagavat Dharma. Make me dance, make me dance, make me dance as you wish. According to the will of the Lord, this is real dancing. Nothing should be done artificially. Let everything come automatically. And only we have to follow. Mahajana Yena Gataksapanta. That was in 1966 in September. Really early. Regarding your dancing in the middle of the kirtan, it is not wrong. It is completely right. If in your kirtan everyone dances in ecstasy, it is perfectly all right. That is spiritual enthusiasm. So that's the other side. There's like, somehow or another dance. As Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, I never chanted and danced to make an artificial show. I dance and chant because I firmly believe in the words of my spiritual master. So it's 10 after 9, we'll finish there. Dancing, dancing, dancing. Yes, Krishna people.
Thank you for this wonderful class on dancing.
And dancing? Well, we have a whole book on it.
It brings to mind different things I just wanted to say. I didn't used to dance in the kirtan, but in the middle 80s my guru told me to dance more in the kirtan. And I didn't feel like dancing, so I didn't want to dance artificially. So, as you mentioned and Parivita mentioned, Prabhupada said if you move, the feeling would come. But I thought, that still sounds too artificial, So then I was talking to your godbrother, Krishna Prabhu. He said, what's it say about dancing in the nectar of devotion? And of course it says so many things, but I said it's one of the ecstatic symptoms. And he said, yes, if you completely absorb your mind in hearing the holy name and chanting the holy name, you'll automatically feel like dancing. And I thought, yes, this is it. So I do that, and then I would feel like dancing. So when I notice that I'm not feeling like dancing, then I just listen very attentively and chant very enthusiastically, and automatically I feel
Wow,
like dancing.
wonderful.
There's a quote from Nectar Devotion. Please look at this devotee who is dancing just from remembering the lotus feet of Krishna. Simply by observing his dance, you will lose all interest in even the most beautiful women.
Wow, that's a good one.
Can you repeat? Oh, yes. Please look at this devotee of the Lord who is dancing from remembering the lotus feet of Krishna. Simply by observing his dance, you will lose all interest in even the most beautiful women.
There you go. Of course, that's a qualification of the devotee who's absorbed in the lotus feet of the Lord. It doesn't mean everybody is. He may be dancing to attract the girls. Prabhupada writes about that. I didn't read it, but one of the quotes here. They're actually dancing to attract the girls' attention. So by watching such a person dance, you're not going to get free from that attraction. I can tell you that. So, like when you watch Prabhupada dance, it's like, that's a fact, you forgot everything else, you forget everything else, you're completely absorbed. Because he's completely absorbed, he's not just dancing to put on a show, he's dancing spontaneous ecstasy and love for Lord Jagannath,
There's another purport that talks about the chanting, dancing, and feasting, and it's in that Leela where the Lord Chaitanya feeds the coconut pulp to the dog and tells him to chant. And the next day no one saw that dog, for it had obtained its spiritual body and departed by Vaikuntha in the spiritual kingdom. And Prabhupada writes, this is the result of sadhu sangha, consequent association with Lord Chaitanya and promotion back to Godhead. This result is even possible for a dog by the mercy of the Vaishnava. Therefore, everyone in the human form of life should be induced to associate with devotees. By rendering a little service, even by eating prasadam, what to speak of chanting and dancing, everyone can be promoted to Vaikuntha Loka. It is therefore requested that all our devotees in the ISKCON community become pure Vaishnavas, so that by their mercy, all the people of the world will be transferred to Vaikuntha Loka, even without their knowledge. Everyone should be given a chance to take prasadam, and thus be induced to chant the holy names Hare Krishna and also dance in ecstasy. These three processes, although performed without knowledge or education, even an animal went back to God.
Jai. Pretty simple, huh? Hare Krishna. Dance, chant and feast. Well, that's Rath Yatra.
You know what is the effect for a conditioned soul to meet pure devotee? Unknowingly, unwillingly, and for a very tiny amount of time, or very quickly. I tell you, it's a big story related to Ambarish Maharaj, but Narada Muni. Because Ambarish Maharaj, he had a brother who was very, very sinful. He's the one who, is very, very sinful. And when he saw Narada Muni, naturally Ambarish Maharaj, he told, please go and help my brother, save him, So Narada Muni went there, but the brother was so sinful that he chased him already, ready to kill him. So Narada Muni came back to Ambarish, alright, and he told him that, I'm sorry, I cannot do anything. But Ambarish Maharaj was so adamant, please do something for him, I'm sure you have the power to do something. So Narada Muni came back to the sinful brother. He told him, do you know what is the effect of someone who meets the pure devotees of the Lord unknowingly, unwillingly, and for a very short period of time? And then he ran away. And then this brother of Ambarish Maharaj, he died. And he was put before, what's his name? Yamaraj. And somebody came to him, well, do you know, Yamaraj, what is the effect for a sinful person like me to meet a pure devotee unknowingly, unwillingly, and for a very short period of time? And then Yamaraj said, I don't really know. Maybe I should go and ask my Shiva, And he asked to Shiva, and Shiva says, I don't really know. Let's go to see Brahma, And then they go to Brahma, and then they go to, we don't know. Let's go to Vishnu, So they went all the way to Vishnu, and they asked him, what is the effect of sinful person to meet unknowingly, for a very period of time, a pure devotee? And then Vishnu said, what about this boy here? He's such sinful person. What is he doing? Oh, after all, now he's come here. I'll keep him with me. So the guy means that because he made pure devotee of the Lord unknowingly for a very period of time, he was brought back to Godhead.
Yeah. We didn't do any dancing though. We were on dancing and we got kind of a little bit off the dancing mark there. Well, it's getting late. There is a story very similar to that, which is a real live story from Moscow, but we won't have time to tell it now, of a devotee, of a person who was demoniac, just saw the devotees dancing, chanting, and it saved him from Yamaraj. A real story. You know that story?
No.
I'm sure you've heard it. Many of you have heard it. There was one in Moscow. There was this one man. He was a real, atheist and deist. And you see the Harinam parties sometimes when he would come out from his work, and he would be, he would basically just curse them and just go on his way. And then the man had an accident, a car accident. He went into a coma. And he was in hospital in a coma. And he told this story later on. And in his coma, he saw this. He was in this horrific place with all kinds of people suffering and being judged by this, Yamaraj. And they were looking at him, and they were saying, this man will have to suffer in hell. He's been a drinker, a meat eater, a sex monger, gambler, and all kinds of materialistic things. He's done nothing good. And then Yamaraj said to his secretary, is there anything on his chart which is of any good? Well, he said, well, wait a minute, let me see. Oh, he did see the Harinam party in Moscow on occasions. This is what he said. And he said, what? He saw the Harinam party? Really? Yes, it looks like he saw the Harinam party. So then Yamaraj said, well, okay, we're going to give you a choice, mate. We'll bring you back to life. If we bring you out of your coma, you can come back, but only on the condition that you go and join the devotees.
Wow.
And the guy did. He came to the temple and became a full-time devotee.
Sounds like a play.
It's a real story. I mean, a devotee, the book distributor in Moscow. Sounds like a what?
A play.
Drama.
Oh yeah, it's a real drama, isn't it?
I thought it was a drama.
Well, no, it's a real story from a devotee in Moscow. Yeah. So that's just here and now in this recent age. Just by seeing the Harinam party, what to speak of taking part, just in a negative way, not even in a positive way. The benefits are eternal. And especially Jagannath, as you've heard many times from me probably or others, Prabhupada said if anyone sees Lord Jagannath on the chariot, they're going back to Godhead in their next lifetime.
So which language was Yamaraj speaking then that you understood it?
Oh, I don't know, maybe Russian. Good question. I never asked that one.
Probably there that they can,
Automatic
they speak
translation.
their language, but you will understand it in your language.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a method there. They've probably got Google Translate, you know. Yamaraj has Google Translate now. I'm sure he's got you Google Translate
Yes,
there. You know.
once we leave this body, we are born into another country. So what's the language of the soul? You know?
Well, language of Yamaloka. Help!
Krishna Maharaj, he wrote a book about Sankirtan, French Sankirtan. And there was a guy which was chasing the Sankirtan party by throwing flames, you know. He would put some gasoline and throw it to them. Rush, and they was rushing every day like this. But one day, rather than throwing it,
Cold light.
they got completely burned.
Yeah.
So I don't know what happened after today.
Some benefit is there, there's no doubt. That picture, I mean, Prabhupada was in Bombay, he was talking to Giriraj Maharaj, asking him to organize Rath Yatra festival. And he said, this Rath Yatra festival is so important. This is before the temple was opened, of course. They had no temple. And he said, because if anyone sees Lord Jagannath on the Rath car, that picture will stay in their consciousness, and when the time of death comes, all the pictures unroll, and the picture of Lord Jagannath will come up, and all the other pictures will be wiped out, Prabhupada said. Just by that one fact of seeing Lord Jagannath. Can you imagine how merciful that is? So
They
powerful.
say that the Jayananda Prabhu, who heard Prabhupada say that, became completely dedicated to the Rath Yatra.
Wow. Yeah, these are very...
I sing it in my song about Rath Yatra.
Pardon?
I sing it in my song. I say, attracting the crowds from far and wide. They will never forget this Rath Yatra, and will always remember this feeling inside.
They may or may not remember themselves consciously, but Krishna will remind them. Yeah, that's how it works. Krishna will remind us. Nam Sankirtan ki jai, Hari Nam Sankirtan ki jai, Jagannath Rath Yatra ki jai, dancing and chanting ki jai.